Water supply allocation of 20%. Oroville's at 47% of historical average, and San Luis is at 57%. Here's the reservoir conditions. Again, you can see where Oroville is, 37% of capacity, and San Luis is 33% of capacity. So it's still continuing to decline slightly. This is the Northern Sierra precipitation. A little bit of rainfall in the Sierras, but pretty much where we're going to land is in the 36, 37 range. This is Oroville storage. You can see it's continuing its decline. Again, we're not really getting any benefit out of Oroville for water supply south of the Delta. But you can kind of see where we are in relation to where we were last year. It's anticipated that we will get down to that, the number you see for November, December from last year. That's probably where we're going to land. This is San Luis. Actually, San Luis is not too bad a shape for the state water project standpoint. Federal, the lighter blue is the Bureau's share of San Luis, and they're going to be pretty much tapped out this year. Our storage will continue to decline, but we're in a little better shape. I think contractors are holding a little water for next year for sure.
With San Luis, I mean, that can vary by just opening gates right there, so you want to fill it, is that?
San Luis is off-stream storage, so you pump it out of the Delta and you put it in San Luis, and then what draws on it now is the demand south of the Delta. So yeah, it's not a watershed to speak of. It's 99% pumped in there.
Well, I think what George is saying is that for the next 90 days, if we didn't care about the fish,
yeah,
you could fill that thing up.
Yeah, you could be doing. It wouldn't be declining quite as quick. I think you would probably flatten out. And I think you're going to see that in the fall. That once this wet pattern kicks in, that it'll kind of stabilize. So it's looking like we're going to get a strong El Nino this year.
You know how they can tell that?
Is it a rhetorical question or?
It's very simple. It has to do with fishing. The tuna are in.
Oh yeah.
No, that's that.
Yeah, that's why they call it El Nino, because they get warm temperatures. I mean, the guys off South America would start catching big fish, and that's how they name it.
Yeah, it says the best sushi you ever had.
So this is a strong El Nino gives you this kind of a pattern, where the jet stream splits, and you get stormy conditions in California. The reason they call it stormy is because sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's dry, but you get more violent storms. Usually it's wet. This shows the El Ninos over the last 50 years or so. These stack one on top. You can tell the top bar is 1950 to 1970 or so, and then it starts 72. So you can kind of look at the one that's developing now. They say it's as strong or stronger than 1997, which you can see there's a little bit of an orange bump there in 97. If it's between the blue line and the red line, it's considered neutral, and that's the bottom bar down there. You can see where we were in 2014. Yeah, you can see where we were in 2014, and so we had kind of a La Nina and a mild El Nino, and this kind of faked us out because we thought we were going to get out of this dry condition, and then it kind of played out. So, but they're saying now that this is developing into very strong El Nino, that they're going to have a 90% chance of El Nino conditions in the fall and 85% chance in the winter. So it's looking. That's the guess at this point. And moving on to operations, we have these haven't changed too much from the last board meeting. Fourth Sill at 20, Roseman at 5, East Side at 3, and our connection with Palmdale is 0.25, and extractions on 96th Street continue to be 1300 MGD, and GPM, and the water bank is 13.5. That's up a little bit with the demand demands. Last time I reported was down just a little bit, now it's kind of driven by demands for water, so it's back up just a little. Mike's kind of projecting that we're going to be pretty close to what last year's July was, so it'll probably be a little bit above that red line. So our capabilities continue.
So Dan, for June, what I see there is that we pump less water this year than we did last year.
This is groundwater production, and some of that June number is, again, what I mentioned, the last board meeting is that it's driven by demand. We weren't really extracting quite as much because there wasn't demand for it. But, yeah, you're right.
Well, a lot of that has to contribute to the 25-35% mandate.
Yeah.
And that's when it started, June 1st, didn't it? And, I mean, didn't that long?
The mandate, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, you know, it's kind of a combination of what our customers are pumping of their own wells and what their demands are. Mike, anything else to comment on? But our demands are tracking a little lower than they were. You know, we're in June, July is going to be our peak time, but right now it looks like they're tracking less than they were.
Today's the 14th of July.
Water quality remains good. The organics are a little higher. You know, it's kind of to be expected this time of year. I think we're getting more river water and less pump in, but the THM results are still pretty good. Here's the charts for the THMs. This kind of shows the last couple of years. This is remember this is it's a running annual average. So the MCL, you know, the requirement is the red line at the top, and our goal is that gold line there. So, which is, I think we figured 80% of the standard. So you can see over the last couple of years, at least the Kern County numbers have dropped significantly. You know, we're really looking good from a THN standpoint. The other ones, I think they're all improved, but it does illustrate that THMs, you really have to manage your system. You have to kind of be on it. It isn't something you just flip the switch on and not mess with it. It is something you have to continue to manage, and John has to make sure he's got the right water going in the right place, and you don't have too long retention. But bottom line is our THM is still very good. About a 1% increase over last year's bill, which is not too drastic. But one of the things that they continue to look at the next 6 months is the power costs. You know, how much power we change, and we have to, when we build our budget, we'll take the statement of charges, the estimate basically for the statement of charges for next year, factor that in with the other things that we need to include as far as water deliveries, power costs. Another item that you might have seen in the paper, there's the Bay Delta Conservation Plan has been kind of reworked, and now they're calling it the California Water Fix. They released the EIR and EIS last week, and there's a 45-day comment period on the EIR. They did include 3 new alternatives. Probably the most interesting aspect of the new alternatives is gravity flow from the intakes. Initially they had 5 intakes along the Sacramento River and in the Delta, and they would pump water out of those intakes and then pump it to south of the Delta where our intake was for the canal. One of the new alternatives is to actually only have 3 intakes and have them gravity down to the South Delta and then pump it once to get it into the aqueduct. So that's one change. But we'll continue to be looking at this and keep the board updated on how the California Water Fix affects AVEK. The tour that Lori and I went on is that, you know, you always hear about the Bassmatic, that we chop all these fish up and at Banks pumping plant. Well, the holes are 5 feet in diameter, so they don't really chop fish up. They just pump them up into the aqueduct. This is a striper that was caught in the aqueduct, so there's some pretty big fish in the canal and in the reservoirs. So,
Not scratch up.
yeah, no, it's.
Well, you know how he caught that up? He Delta Snow.
Um,
It's a very expensive fish.
So I'll be in Sacramento this week at State Water Contractors Board meeting, and then I have a couple of adjudication meetings next week that I'll be in most of next week. We did have one item that Mike and I kind of wanted to get the boards, at least inform you of. One of, I guess, a landowner in the Antelope Valley, not one of our customers presently, not connected to our system, is interested in prepaying for water, to buy water ahead of time, because to close the real estate deal, the buyer is concerned about the adjudication and how that's going to affect future water supplies. So they kind of wanted to have the option of purchasing water from AVEK ahead of time. In fact, we don't even have to deliver it now. We don't even have to have it delivery capability, but the buyer wanted some assurance that they're going to have water supply. So this is something that I think we can take to a committee, whatever your pleasure. It's not too far out there, but it's a little different policy standpoint, because this is somebody that is not connected to our system, and it is something that we're likely to see more of in the future, where sellers of real or buyers of real estate are going to want to see something that there's water
And a big
supply.
reminder, we're a wholesale agency, not a primary supplier. And it's completely against, anything we've done in the past, and it's not even close.
Yeah, and
We're a
it's,
supplemental supplier, and so that it should be going to whoever the water district.
I don't think they're, I don't think they're in one of the, like,
People who do real well.
they're using a well now. So basically what they're concerned about is the adjudication is going to restrict how much they can pump, or that they have to pump, or buy supplemental supplies. And the supplemental supplier is going to be the State Water Project contractors.
They're not in AVEK's legal description?
No, they're in our service area, but they're not connected to our system as far as.
If they go out and buy water, or if we can find them water, that's a permanent source of water, that's a different issue. That's part of our MOU.
Right.
But if it's just to say we want to buy table A, it doesn't matter what the cost is. We have never been in that position to ever guarantee it. And that was the big thing about District 40 wanting a guaranteed set 60%.
Right.
Okay, so
And
go ahead, Mike.
that's really one of the reasons we wanted to bring it to the board, to say, how do you want us to approach this in the future?
Yeah, I can tell you this. It's not new development, it's not a new customer, it's an existing mobile home park. I got a call from their attorney today, and he's in a little bit of a panic because he's got a new condition that's been imposed, actually it's by the lender. And the lender's about to pull the financing because he got spooked about the adjudication. And it's a mobile home park in North Lancaster area that doesn't get water service from the County Water Works District. It's not close enough to the AVEK facilities to get connection to the AVEK. What they have is 3 wells, and boy, lived on those 3 wells. But apparently, in the adjudication process, which I've not paid very much attention to, frankly, they made a mistake along the way, and they're in the small pumper category. And so, what they understand, this is accurate, this is what I'm told, is that they'll be limited to pumping 3 acre-feet per parcel. And that's on 12 acre-feet, and they're concerned that if they can't get out of that class and into a larger class, that they'll be limited on being able to provide the water necessary to continue to serve 210 million. And so the lender
How many
has
more homes?
200, yeah.
Are they cloning in? Over 4 units of anything is considered, you have to be a water company. It isn't, AVEK's the least of the worries.
So anyway, what the lender said is, look, I'm spooked about this. I'm worried that we're going to loan money and then there won't be water service and something bad will happen. And so what they've imposed as a new condition is they want the buyer to pre-purchase 480 acre-feet of water from AVEK guess the idea is,
Per year?
no, just one time. They figure that's enough to keep them going for 10 years, worst case scenario.
You got to kill.
That's,
It has to be per year. There's no,
I think what they're thinking about is having this be kind of a water bank for replacement water, so that, you know, even though they overpump past 12, they have their own water to be able to offset their.
you know the problem with that? We cannot make that determination because the water master will make that determination how the tax is going to be involved. See, that's kind of, that's a scary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it needs a lot of study, but I'm just adding it.
So what they anticipate is, you know, there's going to be a limit on how much they can pump. They'll get free pumping allowance and BG accretion. If they exceed that, then they'll have to pay for replenishment. And basically what he wants to do is have that replenishment water bank to satisfy that requirement.
Okay, Mike, think about what you just said. Mike. I mean, you may know this. Who is this attorney and who are these people obeying that determine public health and safety? There's minimum laws and how much water's got to be used per unit, okay? I mean, what I'm saying is that that property's in the groundwater adjudicated groundwater basin. We do not know what the master's going to charge to replenish the water. And this is what the thing is going to be pretty interesting because it's not going to be cheap. We're hearing numbers somewhere anywhere between, it could be $400, $500, $600 an acre foot. That, yeah, you can go ahead and take as much water as you want, but you're going to have to make up these big numbers. So us to even contemplate anything like that would be crazy.
This is, Dan, is this what you're talking about? You're talking about?
Yeah, this is the, and that's kind of why we brought it, because we thought,
But this should be, in my view, you know, it comes to you, it should come to the board, the president, it go to committee,
that's,
but it shouldn't be bypassed where their attorneys are already talking to our attorney. I mean,
Yeah.
who's
paying for that?
paying for it? That shouldn't be.
Yeah, send us a bill.
This procedure we've had for years and years, and we made one big, step away from that.
yeah,
And our procedures work pretty well.
no, that, in fact, that's,
Their attorney should not be talking to our attorney at this point.
yeah, Mike just told me about that this afternoon.
That's a better.
That's really why I brought it to the board, is because I think it's appropriate to
Tell him
take
he
to
got
the,
Mike's number and he called Mike.
yeah.
And Mike, feel free to
Well,
talk to him.
Well, it's not our policy to do this,
No,
is that
not our
correct?
policy.
You should have-
Okay, so it costs us money to address this also, but it's against our policy, maybe we should.
You said it. It goes to.
Yeah, but it goes to committee, it costs us money.
No, the manager should give it to the president, and the president decides if it goes to a committee or not.
It should come to
That's
a
what
letter.
it
They
is.
sent a letter to us.
They haven't, as far as I know, they haven't sent us any letters.
First thing they could ask for that request, put it in a letter.
Right.
Then that procedure, you know, that's how we've always done it for years, and it goes, and then it comes AVEK, it goes to the
Yeah.
board, Keith right here, and then that's the procedure it goes.
Now, once we get the letter, I'll assign it to a committee.
Okay, great.